Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. It's bright and early, daily discipline, mind, body, and soul. This is how we get through Sunday. Let's get into our study group for warriors, my hardcore heads. I got lots of notes. Let's just go through them. This is some of the stuff that I've studied over the week. Hope you guys are staying up on your programs. Here's the first one. Is shame and guilt holding you back from who you really are? You might have to go through a process of forgiveness. Forgiving yourself. That's where forgiveness starts. You start by forgiving yourself. It's hard to forgive others if you don't forgive yourself. If you're still harboring shame and guilt, if you're still torturing yourself, beating yourself, judging yourself, harboring negativity about your own past, then you're not going to really truly be able to connect with others. It starts within. The shame and the guilt isn't a lesson that you learned. It's a punishment. You learn your lesson in any experience and you move on. When you have shame and guilt, you're blocked. You're still punishing yourself over something that happened a long time ago. And you do this to yourself, we all do. You wouldn't do this to someone else. It wouldn't be fair. Everyone would tell you, look, you gotta let that motherfucker go. You can't continue to punish him. Are you gonna forgive him? You hold a grudge for the rest of your life, burning hatred for someone else. It makes you a weakling. That's not something you brag about to people. That's something you go to see a therapist for. Because you can't move on in life. You can't move forward in life if you're focused with negativity towards another person. Every day you wake up angry at somebody in the past. That's an anchor. That's a huge wall in front of you, blocking your path. A wall that you're building every day, wishing that you could get to the other side, and every day you add more bricks to it. But we do this to ourselves. You may be desperate to move forward in life and somehow you're not making any traction. And every single day you wake up continuing the punishment of yesterday. Continuing that shame and that guilt in whatever area. Maybe you screwed up a relationship. Maybe you did something fucked up. Let it go, bro. Let it go. I don't care what you did. Let it go. Get rid of all that shame and that guilt. Get rid of it today. It's a good day to do it. By tomorrow, you'll be moving forward. Let's move on to the next one. Many men, I think of that 50 Cent song, many men, many men don't seem to mind being weak, pleasure-chasing, low-intelligent, shallow losers, do they? Many men don't seem to mind being weak, pleasure-chasing, low-intelligence, shallow losers. That could be you. I guarantee you it's some of you. Just statistically. So how do you release yourself from that torture? Because that's a self-torture. No one's doing that to you. No one's making you weak. You make yourself weak. If you make yourself strong, how do you become strong? Do I make you strong? No, you make yourself strong. You take credit for that. When a person becomes strong, they take credit for that. Well, why do you blame your weakness on others? You made yourself weak. You make yourself strong. It's your choice. You make this choice every single day. What's your choice today? You're faced with those at that crossroads daily. Is this going to be the weak version of you or the strong version of you? Which path are you going to go down? A lot of guys don't seem to mind walking the path of weakness, of pleasure chasing, of ignorance, of being a loser. They don't mind at all. But if you do mind what is the path for you, then there's a path of discipline. That's a hard, winding road. But discipline truly sets you free. And sometimes you have to take a few steps on that path before you realize this is where I'm supposed to be. This is what life is supposed to be about, right here. The grind, the routine. It's not about the adventure. It's about the routine. Let's move to the next one. Is there a difference between the symbolic world and the real world? Sure, I think there is. But we don't want to reject the symbolic world just to live in the real world. And you have to understand which world that you live in mostly. You live, for the most part, in the symbolic world. Now, I don't mean this as their opposites, as if the symbolic world is a lie and the real world is the truth. You may be thinking the symbolic world is religion and the real world is science. I had a conversation with someone the other day and she said that she believes in science. And I tried to explain to her, you can't believe in science because science isn't a belief system. It doesn't offer you a choice. It's either true or it's not. Regardless of whether you believe in a scientific fact, it makes no difference towards that fact. It doesn't make it any less true. It's not voodoo. With voodoo, you have to believe in it in order for it to work. Science works regardless of what you think. Who cares what you fucking think, what you believe? It's not a belief. Here's an example. Nobody drinks H2O. No one. No one drinks H2O. You don't go to a restaurant and get offered H2O. Can I bring you some H2O, please? You don't drink H2O. Nobody does. You drink water. Water is the symbol, right, for H2O. H2O is the reality. H2O is the science. That's the description of what it is. What is water? Well, it's, H2O. Get into the science of it, the chemistry of it. H2O is chemistry. Nobody drinks it. You drink water. Give me a glass of water, please. So we live largely in a symbolic world. You're listening to me talk in symbols. Words are symbols. A symbol holds meaning and you have to kind of open it up and find out what's in there. I just think it's interesting to think about this stuff, the symbolic world versus the real world, and how they complement each other. I wonder if there's other things that we think are polarizing, that are opposites, but that aren't opposites really, that complement each other, but that are different. Let's go on to the next one. Here's a question by Alan Watts. I'm a big Alan Watts fan. Before you try to save the world or to destroy it, because some people are on a path of either they are just hell-bent on destroying the world or they think they're heaven sent to save the world. But before you try to save the world or to destroy it, pause for a second. Just pause for a second, bro. Just a second. Just take a break for a second before you try to accomplish this mission. Before you try to save the world or destroy it, pause for a second and look at reality as it truly is. When you pause, you get a chance to look at reality. So many times we're moving so fast in our own little delusion that we don't really see reality. The environmentalists can be like this. They're absolutely deluded and crazy. And you can shake them as hard as you want, shake them until their necks break. They're not going to agree with you. They're not going to give in. And then there's some people that are just desperate to destroy the world. Look at the people marching forward trying to build this super AI technology, and everybody has come out and said, hey, they're going to destroy humanity, and these guys do not seem to care. They seem to be hell-bent on destroying the planet. Same with the military industrial complex. All those private contractors out there trying to figure out better ways to kill masses of people. Now, before your little mission of saving or destroying Just take a quick second and see life for what it really is. Here's another question. Alan Watts. He asked, are we going to make it? Maybe that's a societal question. Maybe that's a question that a kid asks a parent as they're sitting in the passenger seat. Maybe that's a question that you might ask your wife as you're looking at some of the hardest times that you've ever gone through. Are we going to make it? Well, if somebody asked me that, are we going to make it? The first question I would have to think about asking them in response is, well, how far are you going? You say you're going to make it. Make it to where? What's your destination? Where are you going to? Because if your destination is unrealistic, maybe you won't make it. Maybe you have to have more realistic destinations. Maybe your destination is fine, that's realistic, but maybe you're just not doing what it takes. So no, maybe you won't make it. Maybe other people might, but maybe you won't make it. So how far are you going? And how much work are you putting in? Did you get anywhere today? You wonder if you're going to make it, but you haven't done nothing today or yesterday. You haven't done nothing at all. Maybe you won't make it. Let's go to the next one. Mountains don't exist without valleys. There's different aspects of life. There's an aspect of the mountain and the valley. And then there's the aspect of the climb and the descent. So the valley aspect is one at the bottom, and all you have is to go up. The peak aspect, because you have valleys and peaks, there's an aspect where you've made it. And you're up at that observation deck looking down at all the trees and the little tiny cars in the parking lot. You're patting yourself on the back for how far you hiked. But then there's also the climb to the peak, which can be monotonous, strugglesome, boring. It could all look the same if you've ever traveled on some of these paths in the woods. Just miles and miles, it just looks the same. You don't know if you're getting anywhere. Then you have the descent, where you've seen the top, you've been to the top, and now you're slowly working your way back down. This is the course of life, constantly, up and down, valleys and peaks, different aspects along the journey, different outlooks. Let's move to the next one. Well, I got 5 more pages. I don't think we're going to get to it. Let's just move forward. Time is a weird concept. They have linear time, the future, the past, and the present. That's just linear time. Then they have block time. Block time is 4th dimensional time, where if you think of time moving in different directions, sideways time, up and down, and time moves in different directions. Block time is kind of hard to explain, but we understand linear time, and we have this idea that the only thing that it exists is now. The future is an illusion. It hasn't happened yet. It has a bunch of potentialities. The past is already gone. It's water under the bridge. It's not happening now. It already happened. So the past and the future are similar in the fact that they're illusions. They're fantasies. Just something that you think about, something that you can't really experience. But in block time, the past and the future and the present and all the potential futures, all the potential presents, all the potential pasts, all exist all at the same time. What I wonder about linear time is, as you're in the present, does the past still exist, or does it not exist? In block time, it would suggest that it actually exists. So then, what happens to your past when you die? In linear time, the past is gone. The moment kills the past. The arise of each moment destroys the past. But in block time, it exists all at the same moment. And then your existence doesn't ever end. In block time, do all your potential futures, all of them, disappear when you die? Or is there just one future where you died and many other potential futures where you're still alive? And does your past get erased in block time, in the fourth dimensional time? When you die, does your past still exist? Is there a past version of you that exists forever? It exists in the past. It's kind of weird to think about. Do we have any time? I don't think we have any more time. I want to do several more pages. Let's try to do one more. This is a good one. Let's talk about Jesus' return. Woe unto you that desires the day of the Lord. Woe unto you that desires the day of the Lord. Some people desire the day of the Lord. They want this second coming. The question is what's in it for you? What's he going to do for you? So if the second coming of Jesus and that happens, what do you get out of it? He ain't coming back to forgive sinners. When Jesus returns, according to the story, he comes back in a whole different way, a little bit more pissed off. So those of you that are desperate for this judgment day, you better be careful what you ask for. Food for thought.